Part 13. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 122. In the apprenticeship counter-attack competition, which only advanced high-level magic apprentices can participate in, it is verified by Ziwei's speculation that the Jyoda apprentice's mastery of the strong zero-ring spell far exceeds the Corsican apprenticeship, but the two sides fight each other. As long as the magic power is not much different, almost all of them are high tower apprentices. After the first round, only the Nightingale and Lista were left from Corsica among the 9 winners. When I first came to the tower, many apprentices who came to the head of the Japanese elf masters were somewhat deceived, but now their faces are all hot, and the buns they look down on are actually for each one. The basic zero-loop spells are so skillful, and they have developed powerful magical zero-loop spells. Due to the disparity in the strength of the first round, after consulting the apprentices, the second round of confrontation began directly after a break. This time, in addition to the lucky one, the intensity of the confrontation has increased dramatically. Lista is directly on Fadaway. Fadaway has acquired a complete tidal thought, and his magic power and speed of increase have increased by about 2.2 times after transforming the heart of the lake. It can be said that the next test, he can definitely reach 20 standard magic. Although Lista is fully prepared, she still lost to Fadaway's powerful vertigo and strengthened the Frozen Ray 2 combos, and was eliminated. This battle is also the most exciting game, which has opened many new apprentices. However, in the eyes of the old apprentices who saw the battles of Ziwei, Charlotte, and Yang, Fadaway was merely following the predecessors. The final 5 competitions started on the second day, and the lucky ones were eliminated. The finalists were Nightingale and Fadaway. Although Mrs. Winschell prepared a killer for the Nightingale, she was interrupted by Fadaway's squeaky spell, which eventually interrupted the championship. Ziwei turned and looked at Charlotte, who was standing behind him, wondering what the big fat man was using at the cost of the apprentice's killer spell. Charlotte's face was slightly red and there was no response. 5 days ago. Charlotte's sister, look at the part of the year when we learn together and progress together against the evil magician. You can help me Fadaway. This apprenticeship is the champion of the competition, I am bound to learn. Sister, you are my teacher now, I will develop the pillows and wind the wind to the mentor. Fadaway died in the face of Charlotte. What teacher? Don't talk nonsense, Charlotte is beautiful in his heart. It's so sweet, give the squeak spell to the dead fat man. After reading this spell confrontation contest, Mrs. Winschell found the West. Oh, madam, I think you have a general understanding of the Jyoda situation this week. I don't know what course you are willing to teach. Ziwei is very happy, Jyoda is now in short supply of a mentor, and Mrs. Winschell is undoubtedly a very good candidate. President Ziwei, should you have been promoted to the middle magician? Mrs. Winschell smiled. Yes. It is true, Ziwei did not hide. I don't care, I have been stuck in the second ring magician for 3 years. My mental strength is no problem, but I am very worried about reshaping Xinhu in one time, so I am afraid to advance. Winschell the lady frowned and said her confusion, rebuilding the heart of the lake seems to be concerned about the soul. Do you know that this process is dangerous? There are some doubts in Ziwei. Doesn't Mrs. Winschell have a mysterious background? The promotion of the middle-level magician, it should be unstoppable. Seeing the expression of Ziwei, Mrs. Winschell sighed and explained, my magical inheritance is accidental, and it has nothing to do with the one I serve. And since I left Par, I have already had a hole I haven't seen that lord for 8 years. Can I take the liberty to ask your meditation door? Ziwei asked curiously. My elemental affinity is not outstanding, so the achievement in elemental magic will not be very high. My meditation door and the elements you create are very different, probably only increase the total amount of magic by 80%. If you need I can transcribe this door of thought. Madam, according to my breakthrough experience, rebuilding Heart Lake is a rare opportunity to change the mind of the mind. And your meditation in the process of reshaping will also affect your promotion. But correspondingly, the idea is more excellent, remodeling is more difficult, and finally the test of the tenacity of the soul is very difficult to pass. Ziwei did not hide his own feelings. If you trust me, then you will pay attention to it. Give it to me, I will try to help you optimize it. That's great. Mrs. Winchell saw with her own eyes that Ziwei had created a variety of magical elements, and in this respect, she has unconditionally trusted Ziwei's ability. In the following time, Ziwei took the time to make an alarm system. As long as the tearing radar detected the proximity of a large vessel or a strong energy creature, it would sound an alarm on the top of the tower, and everyone on the island must lose it in a short time. The work at hand enters the tower to take refuge. After completing this alarm system, Ziwei tested it once and the effect was not ideal. Ziwei simply moved most of the elderly, women and children with limited mobility to the first floor of the tower. It was originally the residence of the tower servant and the banquet hall. Now, because of the existence of the cleaning system, the tower does not need so many servants. In the blink of an eye, it was not until the end of July. There was not a few days before the next arrival of friendship. Ziwei was somewhat guilty when facing Natalia. He was busy all day, not managing high towers or studying magic, so that these days, Natalia said no more than 3 words per day, and staying together for less than half a magic time, almost became a stranger. Fortunately, with the cute werewolf girl Cynthia and the big man, Natalia has not been too boring, but this time Missy has already visited the entire island. If not the previous promise, Natalia has decided to return to Ayacho a few days after the friendship. But on the early morning of the last day of July, Tailing, who has been sticking to his post, detected a huge fleet of sails from the southwestern seas 20 miles away. The model of one ship after another appeared on the spatial perspective of the zero projection, and the face of Ziwei changed, and it quickly sounded the alarm. The piercing screams resounded throughout the island, and Ryan, who guarded the arcane crystal mine, pressed the button that had already been prepared. The illusion module that the master tower had just added started, and the arcane crystal mine turned into a distant look. A hill. Young people and young men live in the docks and towns. They stopped their work in the short time when the alarm sounded, and they went all the way to the tower. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, the fastest and hottest serials are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 123. Gradually, a huge warship appeared on the sea level. Ziwei, who used the telescope, saw the flag of the brown wolf in the wind at the top of the flagship. The attack of the sea-hungry wolf came. But looking at a fleet of 20 pirate ships of the same size and followed by a neat queue behind the flagship, the entire fleet looked pretentious, and all the momentum swept over, and 11-way looked black. Didn't you kill a few fourth-order men and win a few boats? As for the whole family, a small wave of people came to fight with me. Such a powerful fleet, even if it is enough to attack a city-state, is it enough? Sea Wolf King, you are a warrior of the master class, but you are really careful. The only thing that makes Ziwei feel gratified is that due to the difference in material structure between the two worlds, there are no guns and cannons on the Orient continent at the moment, so that even if these sailboats are close, they can only land in combat. The high tower side is on the safe side and should still be able to fight. The bell was still screaming, the apprentices of the tower were all concentrated, and Yang settled in order, and Charlotte had already stepped up and rushed into the 6th floor of the tower. Ziwei, what? This time is not an exercise. Charlotte's forehead oozes fine sweat, and Ziwei has already given them a vaccination in advance, so she has already guessed the biggest possibility. Yes. The fleet of the sea-hungry wolf will arrive soon. Maintain the order of the towers and prepare for the battle. Of course, without my orders, everyone will leave the tower. At this moment, Natalia also rushed in, her face with excitement, the Sea Wolf King is coming. Yes. Natalia, you can have a good fight today, Ziwei nodded, sorted out the appearance, and walked quickly to the 5-story round hall. Almost all of the apprentices are already here, and they are stunned and panicked on their faces, completely unaware of what happened. MRS Yang and MRS Winschell are organizing them in a neat queue, and the order is still there. Seeing the figure of Ziwei, almost everyone seemed to find the backbone of the heart, and the uneasiness and doubts in their hearts were suppressed. There is a pirate fleet approaching. It is very likely that a battle will take place. MRS Winschell, you manage all the early and middle level magic apprentices, don't let them panic. Charlotte, Yang, you will all the high order the magic apprentices gather together and send the magic guns down and point them to their usage. Although there is no news of the spread of magical guns, Ziwei has prepared all the high-level magic apprentices to learn the spelling model of the Arctic missile energy conversion in advance, so they are all potential arcane gunners. MRS Winschell is already an adult. As a female, she is also an expert in emotional magic, so she can take good care of these junior high school magic apprentices who will not be able to fight adulthood. My students, today is a special day. Evil pirates are about to attack us. They want to destroy our college and occupy our beautiful home. There will be a battle today, this battle will win. The power of emotional magic has been used between the words, inspiring everyone in the entire round hall. The bright and warm voice of 11 Wei Hong echoed in the entire round hall. Even the small apprentices seemed to have recovered the lost courage. They no longer trembled, and their strength and fighting spirit emerged in their eyes. My knights are ready. They can fight at any time. Natalia put on armor, a fine armor made entirely in accordance with her figure, with silver armor reflecting the cold light. Her whole person has become a fighting machine that can be dispatched at any time. Good. Let me see what kind of combat power this group of pirates has. Ziwei's eyes are firm. This is the tower you said. It is not very good. Let me know what you know about the Gatlin Master. Captain Cook has seen the tower far away. This grayish-white the tower is not beautifully decorated and looks plain and simple. It doesn't seem as luxurious as the legendary Master Tower. He is very old, and he always has to go to see the glorious Lord at any time. But when I came to trade in 3 months, he seemed to be a lot more spiritual. As for his strength, I don't know. There was a bandage around the waist, and the spirit was a little languid. Water Ghost, this is the island where you saw the last call of the greedy wolf. Captain Cook turned to ask another person. The surface of his skin is covered with fish-like scales, and his eyes are big and sharp, looking like a monster. In fact, the Water Ghost is a hybrid, a descendant of fish and humans. Such a birth has made him discriminated and insulted since childhood, but he is a natural marine warrior. Yes, the Sea Wolf King, the voice of the Water Ghost is hoarse and unpleasant. I saw the young mage named Ziwei and Natalia, the heir to the Bonaparte family, riding the wolf. Boarded the island and didn't leave again. Very good. It seems that we really have a relationship with this tower. Originally, I was going to leave Francis's daughter and I could go. I didn't expect to be able to avenge them for the greedy wolf. Captain Cook emerged in his eyes. Cold, raise the flag. Prepare to fight. When the pirate ship raises the flag, the other party has only 2 ways to go, either or unconditional surrender. Take this. Ziwei put a small black button with a long hooked delicate toy to the heavily armed miss. This is the magical things that keep us connected at all times. Ziwei took out another identical gadget stuck in his ear, and the protruding hook just extended to the mouth. This is a magical object inscribed with traveling, which can help people who can't do magic to achieve communication within a certain distance. It can be regarded as a magic version of the walkie-talkie. Natalia is a blood knight, and her guards are all cavalry. These people are trapped in the towers and can't play their fighting power. What really suits them is the flat land and the vast battlefield. Natalia, who is a fifth-order blood knight with an epic sword, is undoubtedly the only hope for confronting the master warrior Sea Wolf King. Therefore, Ziwei must have timely communication with Natalia. Natalia's armor did not reduce her flexibility, she smoothly put this magical object on her ear. Ziwei extended his hands and gave her a strong hug. "Come on, Miss Natalia." The cold armor can't isolate the warmth of the hug, and Natalia's voice has been softened a lot. "You have to work hard." Frost Knight. Ziwei stood in front of the 6-story window of the tower, and watched Natalia's little figure walk out of the tower, took over the reins of the adjutant Bowl, and rode on the BMW Hanks, and the horse galloped disappeared into the west. In the vision of the dimension. "Baby, let's do a big job, swear to guard our territory." Ziwei's face finally showed an excited look. "This is my tower, this is my territory." "As you wish, my master." Zero voice is as light and elegant as ever, but Ziwei has smelled the excitement from it. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest and fastest, the most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 124. Ziwei walked into the secret room on the 6th floor of the tower. This lotus flower center is completely free of any light and only 1 square meter of dark space. Going to the transmission array, the Westway Idea Drive, transfer the top. Under the foot of the 4 series of rounded transmission of the array of shining blue light, 11 Way's body flashed, disappeared in the secret room. The next moment, Ziwei has appeared on the 6th floor of the tower. It is just a low space under the top of the stone. It has never been seen in some years. At this moment, the dome of the tower slowly contracted and landed under the control of Tailing, and it was fully deployed. At the foot of Ziwei is a huge magical array that is almost the same size as each layer. This is a 5-ring polyfamily that can be used to bring the magical power of the tower's element pool to the magician who is at the core of the circle. This gathering array will greatly increase the spell power of the caster, and you can increase the spell level of the spells below the 5 rings by a single level. The elemental pool of the tower has been abandoned for many years, but it has not been damaged under the maintenance of tailing. After controlling the tailing, Ziwei put a large amount of arcane crystal into the corresponding element pool. At this time, the 4 elements in the element pool are completely overflowing and have reached the best state. 11 Wei was wearing a black magic robe, holding Gatlin's magic wand on his left, and his right hand was a Descartes elemental magic book. He stood quietly on the core of the fantasy. Each node of the gathering array is gradually activated. The blue magical flame ignites every inscription inscribed on the thick stone wall. If you look at it from the sky, the top of the tower has already bloomed a mysterious and beautiful blue. Magic map. The fleet belonging to the pirates is finally approaching. The Wild Heart is too deep to catch the water. It can only dock at the port on the other side of the island. There are also 12 shallow draft boats that have docked on the sea outside the tower. Many pirates hold weapons. I am on a boat to land on the beach. Looking down from the tower, the dense pirates are like a black ant colony, marching wildly toward the tower. The tower is only a few hundred meters away from the coast. It is just the only small high ground, with smooth stone walls on all sides. There is only one way to get into the tower, and that is to open the gate of the tower. At this time, all the residents of the entire island of Capra have entered the tower, and the thick iron gate with a foot thick is completely closed. Ryan directed the heavy-duty miners to find all the heavy objects and sandbags piled up behind the tower door, completely blocking the only passage. It seems that the other party is very alert. It is ready in advance. There is no one on the whole island. The pier and the town are empty. Captain Cook showed a cruel smile. Let Tecassus. The cabin of the Wild Heart was opened and a huge figure walked down. It is all brown fur, full of 5 meters high, with sharp fangs and strong body, is a huge wild beast. On its back, carrying a large metal giant hammer, this giant hammer is more than 1 meter in diameter and 10 meters in length. It is a terrible war beast. In front of it, all the people are so small. Each of its feet brings the violent tremor of the earth, as if it will step on the stone path at any time. Missy. Are we attacking now? In a small grove in the center of the island, Natalia and her 50 guardian knights made simple green camouflage on their bodies and mounts, lurking in this on a small high slope. You can always go to the horse. No, wait. The gap between the enemy and the enemy is too great. This sharp knife must be used at the most critical moment. At this time, you can only see what Sci-fi has. Natalia bravely fights, but never she is a natural war messenger. The pier is not far from the tower, and soon the fierce beast appeared in the vision of everyone in the tower. Thomas, the black robe, waved his hand, and 4 strong men carried a body of a wild boar. Tekes lowered his head, and the sharp fangs easily pierced the thick skin of the wild boar, and the thick and long nose gently rolled the huge body of the wild boar, swallowing the belly in the mouth. Tekasis chewed with satisfaction, and the atmosphere permeated it. Thomas showed a satisfied smile, his dry fingers in the robe under the strange traces. A breath directly hit Tekesi. Hey, with the roar of resounding in the world, Takis's dark red glow blew up and down, and the whole body suddenly became a big circle, and the height reached 8 meters. Offensive, with Captain Cook's right hand waving, the battle boat behind him beat the thunderous drums. A group of armed pirates followed the Tekasis and rushed toward the towers 500 meters away. Don't be afraid. You must be brave. Believe in your principle of Westway. Mrs. Winschell in the 5-story round hall clung to the 2 worst children, crying the youngest, and sang in the warmth high praise songs. In her sweet voice, these children finally screamed and cried, and looked firmly at the fierce beast that was coming step by step outside the window. Every foot of it seemed to be on the heart. Be sure to aim at the enemy. Don't forget or make mistakes. Don't worry about that behemoth. President Zaiwei will solve it. Aiming at pirates, weapons are better and more gorgeous. Listen to my instructions close to the fight. On the lookout, whistle between the 3rd and 4th floors of the tower. Yang and Charlotte directed 18 high-level magic apprentices in 3 rows, 6 in each row. Each of them has almost exactly the same magic gun in their hands. This is the first time they have come into contact with this powerful magical thing, but it is on the battlefield. The first 6 people are far away: Nightingale, Linden, Ida, Lista, and the last of the top 5 Trotzers, who are the most mature and powerful of the apprentices. Retrieve the magic catalog, the best for spells. Ice the earth. Zaiwei opens the elemental magic book and sings the mysterious spell. As the magic becomes more powerful, the average casting time is getting longer and longer. When the violent beast Tekis was 300 meters away from the tower entrance, Zaiwei finally sang the spell. The cold light bloomed at the top of the magic wand, and the element of the master tower was instantly extracted with a large amount of water energy. The temperature seems to have dropped a lot in an instant. In the hot summer, it almost became a cold winter. The next moment, the wild magical energy rushed down from the top of the tower, as if the blizzard slid down from the top of the snow-capped mountains. Ice the earth. Some people in the entire battlefield, whether they are pirates or high tower apprentices, have seen this magical scene. This sloping area outside the tower entrance has been turned into a snow country in an instant. The bones and ice freeze the earth, forming a sloping smooth ice surface, reflecting the dazzling light under the sunshine. Welcome all the book friends to read the latest, fastest and hottest serials at mobile users. Please read Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 125. Frozen Land. Freeze an area and turn it into a smooth ice. This was originally a 3-ring spell. However, After Ziwei used the four elements of the tide ocean, the fiery land, the mountains, and the desert, and the Qingyuan Road as the core to integrate the Heart Lake, now the power of Ziwei's elemental magic is terrible. Although the spirit of true water has not yet been bred, the intensity of this spell is close to the four-ring spell. Under the role of the gathering array, the elemental pool of the mage tower provides a large amount of pure magic, which further increases the power of the spell and reaches the level of the five rings spell. This is the result of a frozen land frozen hundreds of meters, forming a half-meter thick ice layer. This is the power of the master tower. This is why every magician wants to have a mage tower of his own. This is the home of the master and the last fortress. Five-ring magic. Thomas took a sip. It's a hard bone. As a five-ring mage without a mage tower, he is so embarrassed at the moment that the old guy named Gatlin can actually establish his own mage tower. What he didn't know was that the owner of this tower is not Gatlin, but a half-elf boy who is less than 16 years old. Although the fierce beast has a thick pad of meat under the feet, it is not possible to climb up the smooth plain. Its huge body is parked on the outside of the ice, and it is vigorously panting and shining. Dangerous red light. The biggest advantage of elemental magic is that it directly communicates the magical elements between the heavens and the earth, forming various energy attacks that are similar to natural phenomena. It is not a simple spell that can be offset by magic. Ziwei's Iceland effectively delayed the pirates' offensive and one more time. Ziwei did not take it lightly. The frozen land only gave himself a small amount of time. He took a deep breath and the elemental magic book floating in front of him quickly turned to a brand new page. Ziwei Zhangkao began to sing a second spell. The blazing red energy gathers in front of him. This is the elf of the flame, the fire that is enough to burn everything. Descartes burst fireball. In the improvement of the elemental magic field expert Descartes, the fireball technique is only a three-ring spell, but it has greatly improved the magic penetration and explosion intensity. This spell is infinitely close to the four-ring spell on the spellcasting difficulty. Although Ziwei has a demon talent in elemental magic, mastering this spell is also extremely difficult. With the mysterious syllables sung in his mouth, the spell model is finally completed in the heart of the lake. Over the land of fiery fire, the phoenix of the real fire hovered high in the sky. It made a crisp phoenix. A phoenix phantom suddenly jumped out of it and into the spell model. After completing this action, the phoenix wilted a lot, and the original gorgeous wings became a little dim, and it fell into the sea of fire and fell asleep again. The huge fireball was finally summoned to reality. The diameter of this fireball reached more than 1 meter. Ziwei's hair danced in the wind, and all his mental power was used to control this horrible fireball. Because the spelling session is not over yet. The blue magical flame rises sharply on each node of the huge polyfamily. The part of the elemental pool in the underground tower that is part of the fire element suddenly drops by one layer. The red blazing fireball doubles again and the surface rises. A blue flame. Cartesian burst fireball. Ziwei tried his best to push this horror fireball that was about to break away from his control, aiming at the violent behemoth in the center of the battlefield. The skull of this behemoth has been flush with the third floor of the tower, and it can carry such a heavy siege hammer. If it is close to the tower, it is likely to cause fatal damage to the structure of the tower. After all, there is no protective array on the surface of the tower, and it can only rely on thick stone walls. Once the giant beast has broken the tower of the tower has problems. Ziwei has only the strength of the three rings, and it is absolutely impossible to resist the army of pirates. At this time, the violent beast is even more deadly than the Sea Wolf King himself. The fireball glides through a striking trajectory in the sky, just like the falling sun in mythology. Thomas's face changed dramatically, and he quickly sang the spell and put a powerful spell protection enchantment on Tekase. After half a second, the fireball roared down and cut through the sky, hitting the violent behemoth Tekase. A green and yellow spell enchantment suddenly blooms on Tekasis, but instantly melts into the horrible blue fireball. The next moment, the roar of horror rang through the island, and the giant beast Tekasai sent out the sorrow of the sky, and even the drums on the pirate ship in the distance were interrupted. After a spurt of the Phoenix Spirit Phoenix, the power of the fireball is on a step again. After repeated overlap, this Cartesian burst fireball has reached the level of 6 ring spells in the energy level. Although the powerful spell enchantment offset some of the power, but this spell still caused terrible damage to the violent behemoth Tekase. Its left half of the body was blown up by a large flesh and blood, and one of the hind legs had collapsed, and a large amount of scarlet blood spewed out, almost losing its ability to move. Not only Tekasai was seriously injured, but a dozen pirates around him were swept by the edge of the fireball, and almost instantly became coke, dying. The Green Wolf, the slinger, is aimed at the tower. The heavy riprapper that was removed from the pirate ship finally arrived at the battlefield, and Captain Cook quickly issued instructions. Sea Wolf King. You must play. The other is a high-level magician who has his own mage tower. He is casting spells on the top of the tower now. If you don't stop him, then we can never take this tower. Thomas also walked quickly, and his old, wrinkled face showed a hint of anxiety and greed. He wants to be the master of this master tower more than the rumored Abyss Horn. If you can beat the Scatlin and enter the magical mage tower, then you can dominate the party, no longer have to succumb to people, and succumb to people. Captain Cook looked at Thomas with a meaningful look. Thomas lowered his head slightly and left Cook with a white hair. Okay. Let me destroy this stubborn enemy. Thomas, you are also a high-level magic teacher. I hope that you can fight hard. I will use action to express my loyalty to you. Captain Cook, Thomas flashed red light in his eyes, and today he will never leave any backhand. This is a valuable city tower. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest, most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 126. Zai Wei gently coughed, his throat was sweet, and a small amount of red blood oozes from the corners of his mouth. The more use of magic, the body and the soul have a small load, just the original 3-ring strength of the fireball technique in a ring, and a ring of continuous increase after the intensity directly reached the level of the 6-ring magic. Although Zai Wei's body is very healthy under 0 daily maintenance, this still makes his mental power seem to be taken out in an instant, and there are many broken fine wounds in the body. The silver-white star shines in the palm of Zai Wei. He shoots himself with a silver moon. The glory of Ms. Elena, who shines in silver moon, shines on Zai Wei and slowly heals the wounds on his body. Standing at the top of the tower, Zero provided him with a broad view of the entire island. In the distance, a group of pirates drove a huge trebuchet. They pushed the huge stones and giant wood at the bottom of the warehouse on the cart. The 8 trebuchets have been placed in a good position, and the pitchers are adjusting their angles. Although the walls of the tower are very thick stone walls, but because there is no protective magic, I am very afraid of the impact. Zai Wei finally activated the gadget in his ear and said softly to the microphone, Natalia, have you seen the trebuchet on the coast? We must destroy it. When Natalia heard the words of Zai Wei, she put down the visor on the knight's helmet. All the body except one hand were under the protection of the fine armor created by the forging master. The warriors of the Bonaparte family. Charge. Her right hand raised the sword of the family, the popularity of the king. The epic sword that shines with the blue-green light gathers the energy of the wind, coming from the sky, directly into Natalia's body. The wind of swiftness, the blue-colored trade wind instantly boasted on 52 fully armed knights, each of them surrounded by a light blue halo, and everyone became light and flexible. This is the power in the blood of the Natalia family, the power of the wind elves. Swift Wind is a 5-ring spell that can greatly increase the speed and attack speed of the subject. This is the origin of the name of the Swift Wind Knights of the Bonaparte family. From the high slope, Natalia took the lead and the heroic knights followed, the sun shining on their armor reflecting the golden light, and the flying horseshoe rolled up the smoke. The foremost pirates are gradually approaching the towers. They carry ropes and flying hooks. As long as they are close enough, they can slam the hooks on the windowsill and the walls, and then climb over the gates. 3, 2, 1, shoot, Yang Yishan ordered that 8 people, including him and Charlotte, almost pulled the trigger at the same time, and the array of inscriptions on the surface of the magic gun shone with dazzling light. Different speeds of casting, several cold light shots, hit a group of pirates rushing to the front. In order to defend against possible long-range attacks, these pirates wore a layer of leather armor, and several people also held large shields. However, these protections could not resist the energy impact of the arcane missiles. Hey! Hey! With a few crisp sounds, the top 3 strong men fell to the ground. Yang and Charlotte directly aimed at the head of the pirate's head, and the arcane missiles penetrated their eyes and jaws, smashing their brains in the first place. Spike! 6 apprentices were nervous because there were 2 people who did not hit. The 3 did not hit the key. Only the Nightingale alone steadily put this arcane missile into the heart of a pirate. The first row is withdrawn, and the second row is ready. Yang came to the statistical battle. He shouted in a hurry and began to brew the second arcane missile. Charlotte saw a few pale faces on several apprentices, but this was their first close encounter with killing and death. Although they are only shaking their legs, they still have no courage, and they are very courageous. Imagine the people below as a big watermelon. All we have to do is break up these big watermelons, Charlotte encouraged in a playful tone. The movements in his hands were not slow, and the seconds started. Preparation. Some of the apprentices smiled and some licked their mouths. In any case, despite the whole body shaking and sweating, none of these people escaped or flinched. 3, 2, 1, shoot, Yang shouted again. Today, he doesn't need to sing a spell, so he no longer pays attention to protecting his nephew. At this moment, it seems that there is a blood in his body that is boiling, making him completely complete. Changed a look. The tower is located on a man-made high platform, only the front is the only entrance, the other 3 sides are extremely dangerous and more difficult to climb. Yang and Charlotte led all the high-level magic apprentices in the tower, blocking this critical position and shooting all the pirates who rushed forward. At this moment, the west tower of the tower is singing the next spell, and Thomas on the beach is preparing a powerful spell. He drew a scarlet and murderous squad on the sand in front of him, placing several gimmicks as sacrifices, singing around the circle of words. The Blizzard of Descartes. After a long preparation, Ziwei finally completed this powerful spell. The blizzard is a 4-ring magic that can cool the ice in an area, hinder and destroy the enemy. Descartes optimized this spell, maximizing the burden on mental power, making it a 4-ring spell that a 3-ring wizard can cast. Despite the heavy load on the body, Ziwei did not hesitate to choose the growth of the concentrating energy array, and the energy of the blizzard increased again, reaching the level of the 5-ring magic. As Ziwei swung his wand, the blizzard suddenly fell off the sky above the sky, and the killer of the blizzard spell was not the cold and the snow, but the sharp and heavy ice cones in it. Ziwei is located on the top of a 6-story tower 30 meters above the ground. The ice cone is more powerful due to gravity. Anyone hit by a cone will die almost instantly. Ziwei's spiritual strength is in full control, and the scope of the blizzard is further increased, and most of the pirates on the beach are covered in it. This spell is not about pursuing the killing of enemies, but creating the best chance for Natalia's raid. Ice and snow fell from the sky, the snow country suddenly struck, the blizzard caused great damage to the pirate side. Captain Cook was in a cold heart. He did not expect that his subordinates had more than 100 deaths and injuries in a short period of time. Thomas, the old guy, is also a high-ranking magician, but he only has some cold and disgusting evil spells, but he has let himself down the high-level element magician's horrible group-killing ability. Welcome to the book, friends. To read, the latest, fastest and hottest serials are available at mobile users. Please read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 127. Captain Cook is not a coward, but he has deep jealousy and respect for the high-ranking magician named Gatlin. Although the other party does not have advanced masters, the military is always in front of the magician. In a weak position, the magician's unpredictable magic will restrain the military from dying. If you can't beat it, you can't betray the other side. His own attacking ace Takasis is dead, and it is impossible to break the tower in a short time. Then he would rather have more power from Thomas to move the camera. A blizzard is a spell that continues to cast spells. As long as the caster is willing and has enough magic, he can cast this spell without interruption, and the blizzard will smash down. However, after 3 consecutive waves of magic, Ziwei stopped the spell, and most of the pirates who had escaped from the robbery had spread out to escape the extreme distance of the snowstorm. Due to the conflict between the elements, Ziwei can only choose a series of spells to cast, and choose the water element magic that is dominated by control. Then you can no longer use the fire magic like Flamestorm, which is easy to cause ice. The melting of the face. The water in the air around the tower has been thinned after the continuous application of the West Valley. However, there is sufficient reserve in the pool of high tower elements. Ziwei did not hesitate to display the next spell. Thorough Cold Wind. This is a wind, water 2-line compound spell. This spell itself has only the strength of the 3 rings, but the casting technique is very demanding. More importantly, it can be combined with the frozen land and blizzard that was used before, completely freezing this battlefield and pirates. The Westwixen Lake outlines a complex spell model. This spell model is no longer a plane, but a third dimension. The Qingyun Road and the Chaoshan Ocean in the Heart Lake transport the magic according to the deployment of Ziwei. Slow down this spell model that is far more complex than low-order spells by dozens of times. At the moment when the spell is about to be completed, the smashing giant in the Qingyun Road, Peng Peng, gently spreads its wings, and a breeze blows up, completely lighting up this spell model. The bones are cold. The magic wand in the hands of 11 Wei shook again, and a blue wind was down, soaring, like a hurricane. All the pirates who had been ravaged by this cold wind had a cold war, as if they were frozen. It was originally in the hot summer, the pirates were very cool, but at the moment they could not perceive the feeling of bare skin. Every joint seems to be rusting, and even the mind must freeze. A good magician, when you cast the first spell, you have to think of the last 3. With good magic, you can increase each other and eventually form a field that is far beyond your limits. Those stupid guys will only fool everything. It's even worse, I can't even play half of my ability. This is the words that Descartes state in the Elemental Magic book, and also inspired the thinking and inspiration of Ziwei. The ice-covered land was connected to the blizzard to catch the cold wind. 3 consecutive elemental spells were prepared for the project, and the pirates' raging offensive was finally completely interrupted. After completing this method, Ziwei's eyes were dark, which was a reaction to excessive mental exhaustion. He had just been promoted to the 3-ring magician, but he even carried a large number of more magical skills, especially the one that hit the 6-ring level. Descartes' bursting fireball has a heavy load on him. If he is now a 5-ring magician, then the mage tower's increase in the law can use the 5-ring spells without worrying about the magic. But the cost of the more cast is the loss of mental power. However, Ziwei has already achieved the best possible. The war behemoth is dead, the pirate army has been unable to maintain the offensive, and then the performance of Natalia is seen. The rushing knights roared down from the forest. They bypassed the front of the frozen ground, but inserted directly into the pirate from the flank like a sharp knife. Although there are no high-ranking knights in Natalia's Guardian Knights, they are all official knights. They are the young talents of Corsica, and the loyal guards who followed Natalia for 3 years. The knight is different from the warrior. If you are fighting, you should at least play a pair of folds. On the mount, they are simply the invincible assault fortress. Although there are only 52 knights, the momentum brought by the group's assault is like 1,000 horses, and Natalia is the sharp one of this rifle, and the one that bears the most pressure. But Natalia was fearless, but her heart was filled with the desire for battle. From the birth of her, she carried the expectations and attention of countless people. She is the heir to Corsica and the blood of the Bonaparte family. Inheritor. The night surrounded by the swift wind is so fast, the last second has just appeared in the pirate's field of vision, but the next moment has already rushed to the front. Natalia's sword in the hands of the king is booming, and the top of the blade extends out of the green energy blade that is 2 meters long. This is the edge of the wind. Her mount Hanks is a fine horse that has been carefully cultivated. The ancestors are a red dragon and a dragon horse born from a horse. It also has a small amount of red dragon blood in the body. Hanks at this moment a clear humming, Natalia's long sword in the hands of a gorgeous and deadly trajectory, mad wind swordsmanship, half a month. This sword is not only the power and skill, but also the chi hidden in the blood. Ever since hundreds of years ago, the martial arts of the Shenzhou dynasty crossed the fog and the endless sea to the mainland of Valant. The word chi became the explanation of all the extraordinary energy that the military possessed beyond the body. It is also their ability to resist the caster and all kinds of magical creatures. The power of a sword, a tall trebuchet, was instantly split into 2 halves, together with several craftsmen around him. The pirates who had been frozen by the combination of Ziwei's magical spells suddenly found a group of powerful knights. The power of a knife shocked the group of thieves. "Destroy the trebuchet," Natalia shouted, and was about to charge again, but she felt the tremendous pressure, which is the pressure of the strong stronger than her. Natalia saw the middle-aged man in front of the captain's uniform and the captain's cap through the slits of the steel visor. In his hand, there is a big knife with a length of 1 meter and 5 meters. The blade is shining with a blue light. Obviously this is also an enchanted magic weapon. Sea Wolf King Cook. This is a certificate to the Master's card, the right 7 Order Warrior. Natalia was full of blood and her spirits were high. She shouted, "Today, let me Natalia come to challenge the Weong of the Sea Wolf King." Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, the fastest and hottest serials are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 128. This sound resounded throughout the battlefield and attracted almost everyone's attention. In this world where the individual combat power gap is too large, almost every strong person can open unparalleled among the small soldiers. Therefore, after hundreds of years of evolution, the people involved in the battle have formed a tacit understanding, that is, the soldiers against the soldiers, will be right. If one party's highest combat power is far from the opponent's opponent, then there are only 2 endings, either die or drop. This war mode has greatly reduced the casualties of low-end soldiers, but it has created tremendous pressure on all the strong. It's really the survival of the whole army. Sea Wolf King Cook began to mix on the sea at the age of 12. For almost 3/4 of the time in the past 30 years, he has been drifting at sea. He has experienced countless battles and has participated in countless blood and fire. Practice, he personally created countless souls, and he is not afraid of the fate of death. Cook is just a warrior, a monk who has no noble blood flowing down from his ancestors, a fool who can't reach the standard of learning magic, a mortal who can't be a pastor. The warrior is the worst street profession, but this profession has made countless people unwilling to be ordinary, preferring the people to walk out of the mediocre life and become a real strong. Hungry wolf at sea is his life's hard work, and he is also the cause of his life. You have to fight, then fight, The captain's body on the surface of the sea wolf's body was cracked in an instant, revealing his close-fitting black elastic blouse and muscular body. Sea Wolf King Cook clenched his fists, and he looked up to the sky, opened his mouth, and made a loud and shocking roar. This is the unyielding weapon of the warrior, not only can greatly increase their own strength, but also inspire the comrades around. The bronze muscles of his body are shaking rhythmically. Like the keys of the keyboard, the muscles of his body are changing with the naked eye. The chest is violently undulating, and the mouth contains huge energy. Guess. The Sea Wolf King was originally less than 1 meter tall, but at this moment his muscles and bones seemed to stretch, and the height of the whole person instantly broke into 2 meters. The long knife that seemed to be a huge one in his hand, just now can be waved by his free hand. The Sea Wolf King waved his long knife in his hand and strove out. He used the breathing method to adjust the energy of the body, so that every muscle in the body was full of strength. The fighting spirit in the body seemed to be ignited by the fire, the essence of life. The gas is like a wolf smoke, and this scorpion has reached the limit of the whole body strength. This is the perfect control of the body that the master of the martial arts can have. This embarrassment, even a strong mountain rock can be broken. This embarrassment is the full blow of the master strong. Natalia knew that she was facing the strongest enemy in her life at the moment. The slender fingers clenched the green home sword in her hand, and the breath of the wind calmed her down. The long sword in her hand was like a flowing water. Along the way, it was the Count of Bonaparte who defeated the ace of the kings in Padoue, the soft water swordsmanship, ripples. Unexpectedly violently colliding, Natalia's sword ran like a clear spring, but it seemed to carry a thick magnetic, rolled up the sea wolf's long steel knife, kept on the pole. The small dots are staggered apart, but the power of the Sea Wolf King is almost unstoppable. Almost at the same time, Natalia flashed a pair of wrists, and the blue electric light spewed out directly along the long steel knife to the Sea Wolf King. Every warrior grows to a certain extent, and always encounters enemies who manipulate spells. In order to resist all kinds of magical spells, they must hone their will like an ascetic, practice against the harsh natural phenomena such as cold, high temperature, thunder, and storm. If you don't do this, the warrior will never lift his head in front of the mage. The lightning that was enough to instantly kill a strong man just made the Sea Wolf King numb. When he had not obtained the master's certificate, he used to drive a small boat and chase the storm and lightning on the endless sea. This is a life of 9 deaths, but he finally survived. Since then, his body has been resistant to lightning and storms. The knight behind Natalia trained well and continued to bravely rush to the trebuchet and the pirates, leaving a large beach to the protagonists of the 2 battlefields. Everyone has their own battle. When the mysterious summoning ritual lasted for half a spell, Thomas finally completed the spell. The evil and horrible powerful ghost is summoned from the ectopic plane. It is more than 10 meters high. The whole body is dark and bloody. It is a terrible monster. If you look closely, it is found that almost all of its body is composed of desperate, horrified and distorted souls before death. A few pirates accidentally leaned closer. This powerful ghost instantly stretched out his limbs and wrapped them around the pirates. The faces of these pirates instantly showed the look of despair, fear, and pleading. However, this is what ghosts like to see. The body of the pirates is distorted at the speed visible to the naked eye, and is finally completely digested by ghosts. In the end, only a few new faces of fear and the flesh of the beach were left behind. Thomas sent out a horrible laughter that made the child wake up from his dreams. This is a powerful ghost in a small, ectopic face. He was found to use all means to sign the summoning contract. It is his most powerful summoner. It has no physical form, it can easily pass through walls and obstacles, no matter physical attacks or elemental magic cannot hurt it. As long as the ghost is driven into the tower in front, it will certainly create a huge chaos for the other party. It is also possible to directly devour the old mage named Gatlin. Even if the other party uses the flight to escape the battlefield, then this master tower will become its own spoils. The sacrifices of these pirates are very satisfying to the ghosts. It sends a low and horrible mourning that will last forever, as if it were the roar of the soul imprisoned in it. However, even death cannot free these sad souls, they are forced to become part of this horrible ghost. Almost in an instant, there was a large gap around Thomas, and the pirates who were frozen and stiffened were trying their best to stay away from this horrible ghost. Welcome to the Readers to Read. The latest, the fastest and hottest serials are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 129. I feel a strong evil atmosphere. I heard the miserable sorrow of countless souls. This is really a disgusting evil creation, Ziwei said with emotion. Ziwei Master, now only use the God-given blow. Are you ready? The Zero voice sounded eager to try. Well, my mission has been completed, and now the dominance is handed over to you. Ziwei shrugged helplessly and let go of the control of the body. Since Zero has acquired the body through the summon call summoning ceremony, Sylvia has always regarded Zero as his best assistant. Even if it is separated occasionally, she is also a scout, and she uses her talent to break into the shadow ability to take a risk. However, as Ziwei was promoted to the three-ring magician, reinventing the integration of Xinhu, Zero as the magic pet ability re-evolution, and finally Ziwei found that Zero is a super strong caster. Every spell of Ziwei will be Zero, and Zero has a more powerful spirit and a tough intelligent core than Ziwei as a soul. In addition to no magic and heart lake. But at this moment, Ziwei is at the core of the Jupal of the Master's Tower. The superb magic accumulated in the element pool can be called at any time, so Zero can completely be used to manipulate the West dimensional body as usual. Ms. Silver Moon Elena sheltered me. This is not an empty word, but the true feeling of Ziwei. After being promoted to the three-ring magician, Ziwei once again won the new Elena blessing spell, the Star Strike. Summon the power of the stars to attack the enemy from the sky, causing great damage and dizziness, causing additional damage to the undead, demons, and spirits. This is a well-known AI Luna blessing spell, its advanced magic 7-ring spells, the stars fall and the legendary 9-ring magic, the stars are falling in this world with the magical magic of the Hiwei people. It doesn't matter, and more importantly, even though it has been simplified, the Stars Strike spell is still a 5-ring spell. As this spell is integrated into the minds of Ziwei, there is also a message about the Silver Moon ceremony. The two souls symbiotically resonate under the witness of Silver Moon. During the symbiosis, the Arana's Blessing series spells can be cast in 2 stages. At this point, Ziwei has won 4 Elnis Blessing series spells, the Eye of the Silver Ring of the Zero Ring spell, the Attack of the Silver Moon of a Ring, the Silver Moon of the Second Ring spell, and the Magic of the 5-ring spell. Every spell is just right, just to get the most out of it. What's more, the 2 souls required by the Silver Moon ceremony must be very similar. Many relatives and friends can't match each other. However, the soul between Zero and Ziwei is the most suitable and deepest, and the Silver Moon ceremony is the super step ceremony. It is also an unprecedented match. If he had already determined to follow the path of the great arcanist, Ziwei had already fallen under the pomegranate skirt of Ms. Yinyu and became her devotee. The golden thigh of such a true god, not holding it. At this time, there are only 2 focuses on the battlefield. One is the battle between the Master Warrior Sea Wolf King Cook and the 5th Order Blood Knight Natalia. The other focus is that although slow, it has been firm toward the towers not far away. The horror of the forward. The souls of Ziwei and Zero are once again entwined in a double helix, without any suspicion. This is the perfect match and harmony, and the Silver Moon ceremony is launched. The faint moonlight sprinkled on the top of the tower and dyed the entire space with a touch of silver. The silver moon above the sky seems to penetrate the obstacles of the sun, revealing her beautiful and elegant figure to the world again. The souls of Zywei and Zero are resonated by symbiosis, and the strength of the spirit is like a rocket launched. It suddenly jumps to an unprecedented height. Silver moon shines on the earth. 11 Wei sang a spell in Elvish, and the goddess of silver moon modified the spell-related verses of the spell with divine power, replacing it with prayers and praises for her. For a moment, the sky was dark over the entire island of Caprea. As if the sun had finished the show and left, the stage was given to the silver moon goddess, the silver moonlight sprinkled the earth, and the battlefield of blood and fire cast a romantic and warm veil. The power of the stars helps me break the enemy. The complex and exquisite spell model is done little by little over the heart of Zywei's heart lake, and it's fascinating. Zywei is still the first to resonate with another life. This experience is very novel. However, because the object of resonance is Zero, the two of them are so familiar, and the cooperation is so tacit, as if they have resonated and cast spells countless times. At the foot of the polylympha, the responsibilities are upheld, and this 5-ring spell is upgraded again to reach the level of the 6-ring spell. Under the combined force of Zywei and Zero, the bright light shines above the sky, as if the meteor has crossed the sky, and it crashes into the earth. If the 7-ring spell star is fallen, then this meteor is real. Although there is no real meteorite in the attack of the 5-ring spell, it contains the pure power of Ms Yin, which is enough to break evil and eliminate evil. Whether it is an apprentice in the tower or a pirate on the ground, countless people witnessed the fall of this meteor, and it descended from the sky, and smashed the evil of the world, the horror spirit. Ms Yinyu's divine power shines from the stars, and instantly engulfs the tall and evil body of the horror ghost. As if a bucket of hot water was poured onto the ice, the ghostly green and body dissipated in an instant, and the glory of Ms Yinyu was the most deadly trial and punishment. Numerous souls who were imprisoned in the spirits of the horror spirits could not escape, as if they were floating in the sky like bubbles. Quickly dissipated in the air. The next moment, the silver moon retired, the stars dissipated, and Ms Yinyu was just a guest on the concert held by the sun, and she retired. In a short moment, as if nothing had happened, only the thick dark green liquid on the ground reminded everyone what happened just now. Mr. Silvermoon's pastor. Damn, it's not a Gatlin at the root of the spell, but a true god's charisman. Thomas's face changed dramatically. The star attack is a unique spell on the Orient continent. How can he not see it? Throughout the continent of Orient, the hardest thing in the background is the eternal island elves and the Church of the Glorious Lord, backed by two true gods. At this time, he had no time to feel the divine spirit that completely dissipated. He had no time to think about how much time he had spent over the years to make this ghost grow to the point of today. There is only one thought in his mind, that is, hurry to withdraw. I am not mistaken? Is Zywei really the Zywei we saw from a young age? The apprentices in the tower were almost in a state of stunned. They looked very good from the bottom down and could almost see the situation on the entire battlefield. Except for a little regret, I can't see the heroic spirit of the Westward Principle, who has destroyed the thieves, monsters, and ghosts, but every powerful and magical spell from the beginning to the end they are in sight. At this moment, I witnessed the power of high-level magic. In addition to the worship of the president of Zywei, I broke the sky. I don't know how many apprentices raised the idea. In the future, I will be as powerful as the president of Zywei. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 131. At this time, the battle between the Sea Wolf King Cook and Natalia has been heated up, and the battlefields of the two have completely turned into a storm. The gravel on the beach is swept by the storm and hit the people around them directly. A dark red dot will be printed on the skin. However, the situation on the entire battlefield has been killed with the war beast Tekais and the horror ghosts, and the pirates' infidelity has inevitably declined. When the pirates smashed blood and murdered the goods, but they were not the warriors who died in the end, the mysterious and powerful magician in front of the seemingly indestructible tower had already made people feel fear and retreat. On the contrary, the knights of the Bonaparte family rushed out of the pirates, and the blessing of the swift wind made them faster, and the endurance of the horses was stronger, far from exhausting. There is almost no pirate that can be confronted positively. Even if there are third and fourth order fighters, the heavy armor who faces the group's assault is inevitably falling behind. Thomas recast the spell at this critical moment, and a large black mist rushed over the knights, instantly covering them. 5 ring spells, group cursing. Damn. I can't see the direction in front of me. Cough and cough. It's so uncomfortable. Let's hold your breath. My strength was suddenly taken away. The knights who were originally invincible were greatly weakened by this strange fog, and their speed inevitably fell down and was surrounded by a bold group of thieves. At the same time, Natalia has gradually fallen into a disadvantage. Although she has a noble blood and a popular epic sword king who has been inherited for 700 years, it is still a tough challenge to fight the warrior who has obtained the certificate of the master. At this time, Natalia has far more fighting power than the ordinary 6-ring warriors or knights, but the masters of the war are so harmonious, each of them can be used to the extreme. The Sea Wolf King Cook, a single blow is a violent attack that is enough to break the mountain, but his offensive is like a huge wave, never stop. Natalia clenched her teeth and her mind was clear. She recalled the words and actions of her father when she was guiding herself. At the moment, she was doing her best to use the soft water swordsmanship. Windy swordsmanship, to weaken the enemy, a sword to the enemy; soft water swordsmanship, weak enemy, never give up. Just then, the tower finally fell into chaos. After transporting the trebuchet to the beach, the Blue Wolf was observing the situation on the battlefield. Although he is young, he is not only a man who thinks with muscles. On the contrary, he is insidious and deceitful, just like a lone wolf in the grassland. Because of this, Sea Wolf King Cook is so concerned about the Green Wolf, and regards him as his successor. In the view of the Blue Wolf, with the death of the war giant Tekais and the horror ghosts, it is not advisable to attack from the front, but the tower has 3 other faces. Although the terrain is dangerous, it is not worth mentioning for a truly powerful warrior. If you can sneak into the sneak attack and break through the tower door in one fell swoop, would you not reverse the adverse situation and win the first prize? The Blue Wolf recruited and waved around, surrounded by a group of young people. They were powerful and muscular. These young people were talented and bitter on the road to the warrior. The worst was already a 2nd-order fighter. The strongest has already been promoted to the 4th-order warrior. These 30 people are the team that the Blue Wolf is wooing, and he listens to him. Taking advantage of the darkness of Ms Yenyu's appearance, the group quietly left the battlefield and circled behind the tower. They cast ropes and flying hooks, and they climbed harder than the apes. The Blue Wolf bit his long knife and took the lead to turn into the window. His eyes sparkled with brilliance. In the moment of the upcoming battle, his mind was clear. For the Master Tower, he only heard some legends from the bard. The Master Tower is simply the Longton Tiger Cave, and the Dare invaders do not have a good end. But now, even if you can't take the tower down, as long as you can find Francis' daughter from The Apprentice and rap it out, it means you have made great achievements. The Blue Wolf saw the portrait of Tang Wan's family and engraved Fleiya's looks in the heart. At this moment, he is like a wild wolf looking for food. His face is stunned, and his eyes are shining with cold light. At this moment, the stairs of the Blue Wolf in the tower between the 2nd and 3rd floors of the tower and Yang and Charlotte were encountered. Strengthen the frozen ray, Yang's reaction is very fast. He is already a magician. He has shown that this strong zero-ring spell is almost instantaneous. A large piece of cold is sprayed from his hand, and his face is hit. This group of people. Assault. This is a magical skill after the warrior's occupation reaches the second order. It can draw closer to more than 10 meters in almost a moment, close to the opponent. The first spell to protect against physical attacks is Mage Armor, however this is a one-ring spell. If you are close to this group of soldiers, then there will be a killing. Greasy, on the occasion of the army, Charlotte showed a large control spell that is rare in this ring spell. A large piece of oily yellow liquid was instantly formed on the ground, and almost every soldier who passed the charge could not control the balance and fell to the ground. Secondary Flame Ball. This is the talent of the Charlotte Warlock Blood, although it does not have the powerful explosion and lethality of Fireball, but it can also attack the enemy with raging fire. After the awakening of the Warlock's blood, the Charlotte Fire elementality has reached a very high level. The secondary flame ball she displayed has a football size, shining with fiery red light, and flying straight out, to the oil on the ground and the fallen enemy. Strong vertigo. Frozen rays. Flash. Almost a moment, all sorts of messy spells spewed down, and the apprentices who were ready to finish simply pointed the magic guns in front of them into the group of invaders. Hey, with a loud roar, the strongest of the group of fighters issued the most critical roar. The voice kept thinking in the corridor, deafening, interrupting the apprentices' spells. Only Charlotte's secondary flame ball and Yang's strong vertigo were not disturbed and hit the target. The greasy ground is instantly ignited and turned into a sea of fire, but this high-temperature roasting is not enough to destroy the enemy, but they are caught in a more intense bloodthirsty welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest and hottest serials are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 132. At the same time, the Blue Wolf has come to the 5th floor of the tower. He saw a young apprentice, and a young and elegant female mentor with a group of stars. At this time, the apprentices were no longer nervous. They looked at each other curiously at the window and watched the battle below. They accepted the baptism of this extraordinary event. The look of the Blue Wolf patrolled every child. He found a little scorpion of Tangwanjia, but did not find the target Fry. In fact, Freya is already a high-level magic apprentice. At this time she is fighting the Green Wolf. Mrs. Winschell was keenly aware of the emotions of the Blue Wolf, which felt like a bloodthirsty beast in a paradise full of childlike fun. Where is the girl named Freya? Give it up. Otherwise I will kill everyone here. The Blue Wolf opened. Mrs. Winschell shook her head. She knew that the young man in front was a danger far more powerful than her, but she stood behind so many students, and her duty as a mentor made it impossible for her to back down. Very good. This is your choice, then I will be welcome. The Blue Wolf's eyes became blood red, and he had already clenched his long knife. Fear of fear, while shaking his head, Mrs. Winschell is already preparing for the spell. This spell is a magical spell, but it has very practical value. A purple with a pair of hands full of face and fear of the face directly hit the Green Wolf. The whole body of the Blue Wolf suddenly clasped his head, the face of horror emerged. His long knife dang fell to the ground, and Mrs. Winschell was slightly in the heart and began to sing a second spell. However, at this time, the eyes of the Blue Wolf suddenly became blood red, and the boundless anger sprang out. His whole person seemed to be a big circle, and the whole body skin became like a ripe crab. Warrior's 4th order combat skills, Fury. Powerful anger hangs over the warrior, lifting all curses and negative states. Different from the master, each fighter is advanced in the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th levels, but most of the practical and powerful combat skills are almost in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th levels. This spell completely angered the Green Wolf, and his reason and calmness disappeared from him. At this moment, his eyes were scarlet, cruel, and bloodthirsty. "Let me make a storm of killing." The blue wolf clenched his long knife in both hands, took a deep breath, and the whole body began to violently rotate. The long knife in his hand was almost unable to see the trace, and the whole person seemed to have become a gyro that was beaten to the rapid. The fifth order combat technique, the dance of the whirlwind. This is the seventh order combat technique of the warrior, the wild whirlwind, and the legendary combat technique, the low-end version of the blade storm, and the most powerful group killing technique that a warrior who has just stepped into the paradigm can reach. Although the whirlwind dance is only a fifth order combat technique, it really wants to master the preconditions of the wild whirlwind and the blade storm. Such a powerful combat technique has almost no warrior and will not be tempted. The top auction in the city of Venice. At the meeting, such a warfare technique can sell 100,000 gold coins. Enough to arm a full 100 heavy armored cavalrymen armed with horses. It is enough to buy a big manor, become a well-behaved jazz, enter the ranks of the nobility. The blue wolf is a young man with ambition and ideals. He has not wasted the money that has been looted for so many years in the savory powder of the pubs and ports, nor is he somewhere like some old and frail old pirates, buying a manor in the country, but putting all your money into strengthening your own force and recruiting people. At this moment, his incarnation whirlwind, swiftly swept toward the apprentices in the hall. Many young apprentices closed their eyes with fear, and others screamed in shock. There are a few self-satisfied apprentices who try to stop this terrible enemy, but the highest is only a mid-level magic apprentice. The zero-ring spells they released are not able to touch the blue wolf and are separated by the wild sharp-edged whirlwind. Mrs. Winchell was caught in anxiety. The emotional magic she had learned was not suitable for fighting. After being attacked by the other party, Mrs. Winchell was unable to stop the tragedy that was about to happen. Biting his teeth, Mrs. Winchell's right hand gripped a small golden ornament. This is a golden note that shines with dazzling light. This is the life-saving gift given to her by Lord Sophie, the music master. Things. When it is a last resort, you can only do this. However, at this moment, a mysterious decorative pattern in the center of the 5-story round hall suddenly bursts into the dust, shining bright blue light. A white light flashed, and a figure suddenly appeared here. President Ziwei. The pressure on Mrs. Winchell's heart was suddenly loose, and the originally tight body softened instantly. The children also changed their minds. They believed that the president of Ziwei was invincible. Zero has been manipulating Tailing to observe the situation on the entire battlefield, and the fifth order warrior who has become a model powerhouse has been noticed by the first time when he sneaked into the tower. At this moment of glory, Ziwei activated the transmission array that was placed at the center of each floor of the tower at the beginning of construction. Ice the earth. At this time, Ziwei and Zero still maintain the double helix structure of the soul. Although the effectiveness of the Silver Moon ceremony has passed, the spiritual power has also fallen back to the normal category, but the Zero is still sufficient. Fighting power. This 3-ring spell does not have the blessing of the gathering array, and its power has dropped to the normal range. However, it is still possible to accurately position the blue wolf that is still rotating at a high speed like a gyro in an instant. The part below the calf's calf was instantly frozen on the floor. Although he was far superior to the mortal, he could not break free at the moment. This is not just the ice layer of nature. It also contains the magic of water. In a short time, the green wolf can't break free. The entire Golden Sea can be said to be like spring, and even in the winter, ice and snow are rarely seen, so these pirates have no chance to exercise frost resistance. The blue wolf could only stop spinning, holding a pair of knives in his hand, and looked at Ziwei with a look of discomfort. Let the little girl named Freya hand it over. Otherwise it will give you a good look. In the consciousness of the blue wolf, the strongest tower of the tower is the old mage named Gatlin. At this moment, it should still be cast at the top of the tower. He did not think that the blonde teenager in front of him turned out to be the high-level magician who fought against the entire pirate offensive. The judgment of the enemy's strength completely ruined the fleeting fighters of the Blue Wolf. When the Green Wolf swears, Zai has completed the second spell. Deep Freeze. Cover the enemy with ice cold condensed with extreme ice, completely freeze it. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest and hottest serials are available at users. Please go to read.